This segment is brought to you by Gin Gators. We sink our teeth into service. All right, welcome back. Another week of good vibes. I'm Martin Falls. Debbie Cox DeNova, transformation coach, is in the house. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I love the topic, okay? Dating again.
Yeah.
We've all been through it.
Yes.
All right, so good topic. I'm sure a lot of guys are going to be going. A lot of girls will be going. So you go through a little while, you don't date, you're thinking about dating again. What gives you the oomph to go forward?
Well, and it's different when you're dating later in life versus earlier, especially in today's age. We've got the apps now. The sort of scope or the landscape of dating has changed quite a bit. And so I want to give a different perspective on dating to the viewers at home, because the people that I work with, the clients that I work with that are single, I find that there are repeated patterns, energetic patterns amongst them, and I want to address them directly. And in fact, I'm putting a course together, so I'm just going to pull back the curtain and I'm going to share some of the stuff that I'm putting into the course.
Let's go.
Yes. So first the order of business is to understand that dating at its very best can be a spiritual practice, just like parenting, right? Conscious parenting allows you a peek into all the unhealed trauma within yourself that can be healed and therefore benefit your children and also yourself. Same thing in dating. So a lot of people will go into dating, and if they don't do it consciously, what you're doing is that you are dating from your traumas. You're dating from your pains. And of course, the older you get, the more pains in dating that you have, and the more it feels like, I'm going to just throw in the towel because it's just horrible out there, right? And so by the time people get to me, that's kind of the attitude that they have. So first and foremost, I want to say honesty is your best bet when it comes to dating. A lot of people will come in the conversation and like, you know what, I don't even know if I want anybody anymore. And when we pull back the layers of it, what we understand is that there have been so many wounds, so many disappointments, so many rejections that they're just reluctant to get themselves out there again. You have to remember that dating is one of the most important decisions that you're going to make. You're literally choosing a partner in life that is going to influence every zone of your life. And what happens for people a lot is that there's this chemistry thing that happens in the very beginning. We've talked about limerence, right? Mother Nature does this tricky little thing for us where all these chemicals flow, and we tend to put a halo effect around each person.
Mother Nature.
And then what happens, of course, is that we want the person in front of us or the next person to be our person. And that desire can create some haziness that will have us sort of projecting the best qualities onto that person, filling in the gaps with our fantasies. And then, of course, the letdown from that is really hard for a lot of people. So we want to really pull back from that. And I understand what Mother Nature is doing so we can protect ourselves and so we can enjoy the dating process. And with each person that's not it, we can actually get the beneficial part of that relationship, so we can fine tune and get to the person that's actually ours.
So wait, you're siding with Mother Nature.
In a way, I think it's important to remember that some of this is really fun, right? It's fun to experience those neurochemicals and that feeling of like, ooh, and to be able to understand that sometimes chemistry and compatibility are not in the same category. Sometimes we are feeling some sort of dysregulation in our nervous system, which we call butterflies, because our nervous system is trying to warn us, like, this person is not good for us, or because it's familiar from some childhood wound, okay? So it's important to recognize that. But first and foremost, being honest, if you really are desiring to put yourself out there for a partner, treat it like a job in a way. You're going to want to put yourself out there, right? So a lot of people, like if you're looking for a house, you're not going to just sit in your, and not like actually go out there and look and to see what's on the market, right? So it's the same thing in dating. Yes, get on the dating apps, but also expand your circles. Go out in places that you don't typically go. Meet new people and put it out there honestly that you're in search of love, because it's going to increase your chances that you're actually going to find somebody. But then you want to make sure that you are being patient in the process, because a lot of people they want to fast track it, right? I want to find love, and so then that creates problems. I'm going to share a zone model for you that I use with my clients that's really helpful, and it sets boundaries for your relationships to where you're using time and also qualifiers to bring someone from the outer zone where you first meet them into your inner zone where there's some sacred stuff like meeting your children, meeting your family, going to church with you, and starting to create routines and patterns. But it's important to recognize that if you are not doing the work on yourself, in other words, noticing what patterns you come to the table with, where are you the problem, right? Like why are you continuing to pull specific types of people? Then what will happen is that you're automatically going to be attracted to the wrong people over and over again. And a lot of people come to me and they're like, I just keep meeting these men. These men are horrible.
They're just men.
Yes. And then, okay. And then what do we know about beliefs, right? What have we talked about? Your mind's job is to create coherence between your beliefs and your reality. So I want you to examine and write down for yourself all of the things that you believe now about the men or women that you are looking to date, about the dating field in general, and about yourself, because a lot of people are finding that if someone's attracted to me, like, okay, what's wrong with you that you're attracted to me? Well, that's a self-worth issue, right?
Really.
Or they're not attracted to me, so ooh, they must be special. I like them more, right? Again, self-worth issues.
When we come back from the break, I'm going to tell you what probably most men think, and then I'm going to let you answer.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
We'll be right back. Part 2. Don't go away. This segment was brought to you by Rouse's Markets. Feels like home. All right, we're back with Debbie Cox-Danova, Good Vibes, and we're talking about dating again. Very interesting topic today. All right. From personal experience, and I'm sure a lot of people watching out there, especially men, I know of 3 reasons why they will break up with a girlfriend.
Okay.
Religion, totally on different spectrums as far as religion.
Yeah.
Men want a woman that will go with the flow. Not always, oh, I can't believe you out there doing that, or at this party you were having too much fun, behaviors, go with the flow.
Right.
3, do not embarrass me. That can go the other way too.
For sure. And I think, to your point, yes, exactly. And women have a lot of the same things. And this speaks a lot to compatibility. And this is where it becomes problematic. It's not that we don't understand what turns us off or what doesn't work for us, but that we kind of set aside a lot of that stuff in the very beginning if the attraction piece is there. Because again, there's a strong desire like, oh, wait a second, she's checking some boxes that I can see, or he's checking some boxes that I can see. I want this to work. So now what happens is we tuck ourselves away a little bit. We're on our best behavior. One of the dating coaches, Jillian Tarecki, says, if you've been dating for 6 months and you haven't argued about anything yet, you're probably not letting your raw, energetic truth out enough, because you want to get to the place where you're actually just living in your truth. Because what you want to see how they respond to that, right? You want to see whether or not you guys can make it through rupture with repair. But what people will do is they're like, okay, well, I'm attracted to her. I'm attracted to him. And I see some red flags. I see some familiar things from the past. But unfortunately, if you're not coming from a conscious place, that makes you more attracted, right? If you see somebody who has the same sort of red flags as the past, there's a part of you, a young child part of yourself that is like, you know what, this time, I'm going to make this person love me exactly the right way. And so you kind of lean in. For women, a lot of times they're feeling like, okay, I'm not being valued, but they're continuing to give the guy another date, and so they're kind of sending mixed messages. And again, this goes back to your relationship with yourself. For men, same thing. It's like, okay, we do that thin slicing thing. Remember we talked about that, where it's like in the very first 7 seconds or so, we kind of know whether it's a yes or no, but because we are so tired of the dating process, a lot of times we're like, all right, let's just keep slugging along. Well, now you're wasting your time, right? So being able to actually like think about your relationship in zones, and we'll go over this really quickly. Zone 1 would be like the curiosity and compatibility check. So this is about the duration of this would be like 2 to 5 days. You're trying to check to see like, is this person actually somebody who is compatible? And you want to be actually checking for compatibility instead of chemistry. Not that it has to be an either or, but if you are looking and feeling into that butterfly feeling in your stomach and not like actually asking the questions, do my values align? And so here's some things that you're observing. Are their values aligned with yours? Do they show consistency in their communication? Because that's a big one, right? Are they emotionally available and respectful and safe? And this is what you're not doing in zone 1, okay? You don't want to share your deep traumas or your future fantasies just yet. You don't want to let them influence your emotional world just yet. You don't want to make major time or life adjustments to accommodate them just yet, okay? Now, if they get through 3 to 5 weeks of consistency, if they follow through on what they say so you can count on them, you've had at least one real conflict or vulnerable moment and you see how they handle it, you can move them into zone 2. Okay, so the access level there is a light and personal integration, and there you're asking yourself, do they co-regulate or escalate under pressure? Okay, can they receive feedback with openness? Are your relational visions aligned? Right. And then the checkpoints, at least 6 to 8 weeks in this zone, right, of steady connection. They're demonstrating emotional maturity. They respect your boundaries, your time, and your lifestyle. And then you move to zone 3. And this is your inner world preview. All right. This is like more moderate personal access. Are they an additive to your peace, or are they draining? Okay.
That's a big one.
That's a huge one. Can they hold space for your multidimensional self? In other words, they may like one side of you on a date, but can they hold space for all the different ways, how you are with your children, all the things? How do they engage with your people, passions, and pace? Super important, because it's long-term compatibility, right? Checkpoints. After they've shown congruence across time, stress, and intimacy, you feel emotionally safe and energized in their presence. They demonstrate aligned life goals and not just temporary chemistry. Now you go to zone 4. This is co-creation and intimacy, okay? This is where you have shared visions, rituals, sacred container between the two of you, long-term compatibility with ongoing communication. You feel freedom within the relationship and not codependency, which we've talked about, right? And so here is where you actually will be introducing them to your kids and to, your sacred rituals and whatnot. And you have a deeper level, and hopefully you'll make it all the way. And the idea here is that you're not just allowing the chemistry to take them past these boundaries within your life. So you can actually protect yourself and remember that access is earned. It's not something that is assumed just because you have this level of attraction. And then as you move forward, to be able to remember that just because something doesn't work doesn't mean you didn't grab some benefit from the experience that you can take with you and fine tune for the person that you're going to be.
It just helped you build a bridge.
It does. It really does. Yes.
All right. That's good stuff.
Thank you.
I'm going to put it to use. I know some friends out there are going to put it to use too.
Yes.
All right, thank you, Debbie. All right. We'll see you next week again on Good Vibes. This segment was brought to you by Trapp Chevrolet. We're always on your side.